She was the poised daughter of a president, a polished businesswoman, and a trusted White House advisor. Ivanka Trump projected an image of grace under pressure, a model of modern conservatism with a high-fashion edge. But beneath the designer suits and diplomatic smiles, federal investigators were quietly building a case. Behind closed doors, far from cameras and microphones, the FBI was digging into deals, documents, and secrets no one expected. This is the story they didn't want you to hear. This is the secret investigation into Ivanka Trump, and what the FBI found will shock you. For years, Ivanka Trump stood at the intersection of power and privilege. As the eldest daughter of Donald Trump, she wasn't just another member of the Trump Organization, she was its polished public face. When her father ascended to the presidency, she followed him to Washington, becoming a senior advisor in the West Wing. But while headlines focused on her fashion line and diplomatic missions to Asia, the FBI's gaze was pointed elsewhere. Their attention wasn't on photo shoots or policy, they were tracing money, emails, and partnerships. The question they were asking was simple: had Ivanka Trump used her proximity to power for personal gain, and had it crossed into criminal territory? The first crack in the facade came from a real estate deal. Specifically, the Trump International Hotel and Tower in Vancouver. Opened in 2017, the luxury high-rise bore the Trump name, but it was Ivanka who played a central role in negotiating the licensing agreement and managing key business aspects. At first glance it seemed routine. But then something unusual happened. The FBI, along with American intelligence officials, flagged the deal during a national security review. Why? Because of the flow of foreign money, particularly from individuals and entities in China and Russia with ties to their respective governments. Suddenly, Ivanka wasn't just a business executive, she was a potential intelligence concern. The investigation was quiet. No subpoenas. No media leaks. Just whispers. But behind those whispers, agents were following paper trails and encrypted communications. And then came the question that would ignite deeper scrutiny. Was Ivanka complicit in leveraging her White House role to enrich herself and her family? In 2019, financial investigators at the Southern District of New York began examining a series of payments made to shell companies linked to the Trump Organization. Among them were irregular payments involving consulting fees that seemed unusually high for routine advisory services. One name kept appearing in the documentation: Ivanka Trump. These payments, totaling hundreds of thousands of dollars, were tied to projects Ivanka had no public affiliation with, yet records showed her as a recipient. In an IRS report later leaked to the press, investigators noted significant anomalies in how these fees were declared and taxed. Tax avoidance? Fraud? Or just creative accounting? The Department of Justice quietly opened a file. What they uncovered next would elevate the investigation to a national scandal. According to anonymous sources familiar with the investigation, federal prosecutors began connecting dots between Ivanka's role as a government advisor and her private business transactions. One red flag came during the Chinese trademark approvals. In 2018, Ivanka received 18 trademarks from the Chinese government, all fast-tracked while she was actively representing U.S. interests abroad. Ethical experts raised alarms. Was this a conflict of interest? Was she quietly profiting from diplomacy? Emails obtained under warrants showed communications between Ivanka's assistants and Chinese legal firms negotiating terms while she was scheduled for diplomatic engagements in Beijing. And the FBI had it all. Behind the scenes, investigators compiled a profile, one that painted a troubling picture. A U.S. official engaged in potential self-dealing on foreign soil with millions at stake. The criminal charges? Not filed. But the probe? Very much active. In 2020, investigators hit a wall. The primary device used by Ivanka during her time in the White House, an encrypted iPhone linked to private servers, was missing. When questioned by House investigators about her communications, Ivanka claimed she followed protocol and used official channels whenever appropriate. But the FBI had metadata from at least a dozen off-record communications, messages sent via Signal and WhatsApp to international contacts linked to real estate deals and trademark offices. A whistleblower inside the Trump Organization later revealed that burner phones were sometimes used to conduct sensitive business discussions, and Ivanka was fully aware. That revelation forced the FBI to widen the scope of the probe, from simple ethics violations to potential obstruction of justice. Ivanka Trump has never been formally charged with a crime. But behind the scenes, federal agencies have quietly built a wall of evidence: emails, bank records, foreign contracts, and confidential testimonies. Legal analysts have speculated that Ivanka could be central to any potential future indictments related to the Trump family business. Some say the DOJ may be holding off, waiting for a larger case. Others suggest it's already too late, too politicized, too complex. But one thing remains clear: this was never just about branding. It wasn't just about politics. It was about access, power, and profit. And when those three collide, the truth almost always gets buried, until someone digs it up. Ivanka Trump has maintained her innocence. She stepped back from the political limelight, focusing on family and private ventures. But the shadows of this secret investigation remain. And the evidence collected over years, quietly, methodically, relentlessly, may one day come to light in a courtroom, not a campaign rally. For now, the story remains buried under layers of NDAs, redactions, and sealed documents. But the FBI doesn't stop. And neither do the questions. What did Ivanka know? When did she know it? And what happens if the next leak is the one that changes everything? Thanks for watching. If you found this expose eye-opening, hit that like button, subscribe for more real stories behind the headlines, and leave a comment below. Do you think Ivanka Trump's investigation was covered up, or is there more to come? Because sometimes, the real crime is what we're never told.